Hello, everybody. Welcome to Keeping Up with the North. It's AG and Brucie.
Yep.
Here we are, back with another podcast. We got quite the agenda today. We're talking about the Twins, the Vikings, some UFC fights. Then we will have a special guest joining us as well as the show goes on. But let's kick it off with the Minnesota Twins. They just wrapped up that 4-game series against Cleveland. They split it.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of things they need to work on.
We're not taking advantage of the at bats.
They
can't get it all put together. It's like one game out of the series, we have really good bats. We're hitting well. We score we scored 7 runs in the first game.
Runs in the first game, and then after that, it was 4 runs in the rest of the series.
Yeah, so it's like we can't continually keep that momentum going with our bats, which is unfortunate, and It's not going to help us win games.
Well, yeah, and you look at yesterday, Tristan McKenzie from Cleveland. Guy's a great pitcher. He made a season debut yesterday. He had 10 strikeouts against us. We struck out a total of 16 times, only recorded 5 hits. We lost the game 2-1. Joe Ryan was pitching, lights out. Naylor had an RBI double in about the 7th. But, we can't – you got to score more than 2 runs – or 1 run, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't win a baseball game like that.
No, you just can't. And the pitching's been pretty solid, I would say. Ballpen's been rocky. Jorge Lopez has been getting absolutely shelled lately.
Yeah, and honestly, though, going to starting pitching, Pablo Lopez has not looked really great lately.
6 earned runs in the series opener. He's been straight up ass. Straight dog shit.
Yeah.
Signed that 4-year contract extension.
Yep.
And Luis Urias is batting .392 right now.
Trade did not turn out in our
best
favor
hitter in the league. It looked like it was a good trade at first. I probably had a freezing cold take earlier in the season. I said Urias. Well, I might be right about Urias winning MVP. Mm-hmm. And then Pablo Lopez won Cy Young. I don't think so, but you talk about Cy Young and Twins pitchers. You got Joe Ryan and Sonny Gray. So Those are 2 guys that are still top 5 in those rankings. But yeah, they kind of – I watched the highlights of yesterday's game. I didn't watch the whole game. I did see Royce Lewis take a nasty spill. Looks like it was just a big cut on his forehead. If you ask me, I watched it. It looked like he broke his freaking neck.
Ooh.
So, he's all right. He's probably going to be day-to-day, but nothing serious. And he even came out and said, I need to stop running into people.
Yeah.
Or things,
So the Twins rank 5th in the league in recording walks.
So that's
214 good. Walks.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the ball well.
Yeah, sort of. But then that's what I found weird, 5th in the league in walks, and then they lead the league in striking out a whopping 613 times. So it's either a walk or a strikeout or a home run. They're 7th in the league in home runs. Mm-hmm. A guy I want to note who I think's been swinging a really hot bat is Kirilloff. He's batting .304, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, got 12 runs, 16 walks. And Royce Lewis too. The thing I like about him, he did okay at Cleveland. He had a home run. Mm-hmm. But that guy can, change the dynamic of a game with the swing of the bat.
One guy we were talking about just the other night too, Wallner being sent back down.
Yeah, and I saw he's been absolutely killing it.
Yeah,
in AAA. And Gallo's in the 10-day IL, and they bring up garlic.
Yeah.
Garlic. Come on.
Of all
Put
people.
Some garlic on that pizza, all right?
Wallner is, in my opinion, better than garlic. I like garlic. Garlic lights it up in AAA too, but just looking at it statistics-wise, it's like, come on.
A goofy, bald ginger.
And Gallo started the year off hot, but lately he has just kind of been on the down slope.
Oh, he's been straight up booty cheeks lately.
I think he's only hitting 163 or 193.
Yeah. Who I'm kind of impressed with on the pitching staff is Varland and Ober. Mm-hmm. I think they've really been stepping up. Varland's a Minnesota native.
North St. Paul.
Yep. I have no clue where Ober's from. I think he's Canadian or some shit. But yeah, I think they've been stepping up. They look pretty good, especially for end of the rotation kind of guys. Hell, they look better than the guy we just gave a 4-year extension for about $74 million.
Yep.
But other than that, we just need to if we get the bats going, I think the Twins are going to be a scary team. That's even what Buxton was saying. So if we he's the biggest victim of striking out. So it all starts with your star players. Need to step it up. And I know Correa's foot's been bugging him. He's got plantar fasciitis, which is no joke. That does hurt.
Yeah, well, we got a big series coming up.
Tampa Bay. They're the best team in the league. They got good power, good contact team, speed, stellar pitching staff. So it'll be interesting tomorrow night.
Mhm.
We got Louis Varland. He's like I said, I thought he's been stepping up. He's 3-1, a 3.51 ERA. Then we're going against Zach Eiflin. He's 7-1 with 3.30 ERA, and that's like a back end rotation guy for them.
Yep. Yeah, I think
So-
if we can walk away with the series win on this one, I have a pretty good feeling. But I don't know. Right now, as it stands,
We'll see.
I kind of predict that we're gonna maybe win one and we'll lose 2 of the games.
Yeah. Please, for God's sake, not a sweep. But it's gonna be interesting. At least we're still first place, 3.5 up. I've been super surprised about Detroit all year. The AL Central is like the worst division in all baseball, and the NL Central. The Central divisions suck.
Wow, that's a pretty good stat.
Yeah.
That sucks though. Yeah, I know. We're 31-29 right now. It's like I don't know why we can never seem to get over that hump of like winning multiple games.
Yeah, it's like win two. You can never win 3 in a row.
We almost,
in the movie Major League, he says, "Guys, we've won 3 in a row. That's called a winning streak."
yeah. And then I mean, moving on to like Vikings news.
Yeah, the
OTAs.
OTAs have started.
No Jefferson right now.
No Jefferson. He's due for a massive contract. I think they're talking like quarterback type money.
35 million a year is what I've heard.
I don't know if that's why he's not been. You know how those star players are, though. They usually don't show up to that stuff.
Yeah, and then Jalen Naylor.
Jalen Naylor and KJ have been catching the most balls out of any wide receiver.
Mhm.
I know Jordan Addison is kind of dealing with a lingering injury. But, we'll see. Hopefully he scores some touchdowns when the season starts. But I think I want to see KJ, compete for that number 2 spot.
Yeah.
I'm KJ's a fan favorite, great guy, and becoming a veteran.
Yeah, defensive side of the ball, cornerback room. Obviously, we know Byron Murphy is going to be penciled in as a starter.
Yep.
Probably going to be the slot because that's the toughest position to play on defenses, from what I hear.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Caleb Evans is kind of a slot guy. Those have been the top 2 corners through OTA so far. I know that Thornton we got, Joanne Thornton from New England. He's pretty solid. He's a pretty serious guy. He gets it done.
Sounds like B-Flow he's running more multi-safety looks too.
Yeah.
3 safeties.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Yeah, you got Harrison, Bynum, and Metellus being used in the 3 safety looks, and you got Metellus in the slot for that.
No Lewis Seen yet. Or he's slowly coming around.
I don't know. When it first started, I heard he was doing pretty well. We'll see. Some of those rookie guys we got, they're pretty solid too. That Jay Ward guy from LSU, he seems like he's going to be a dog.
Yep.
But we'll see. Hopefully they can put it together this year and win some games because I'm looking forward to the season.
We'll have a couple of vlogs coming this season too.
Yeah, you may not see too much of the game, but you'll see a lot of boozing.
Yeah.
Here at Keeping Up with the North, we like our drink.
We absolutely do. And then Dalvin Cook saga continues.
Yeah, so 2 AFC East teams are interested. I've been hearing most about the Dolphins. Sounds like the Bills are a sneaky team in there. They're going to get traded or released or kept. I don't think we're going to keep them.
No.
We can save $11 million if they hold out for a trade. So I think they are kind of aiming towards a trade.
Yeah.
They would have had to release him by June 1st to, save that cap space. But we'll see, man. I mean, I like Madison and that McBride guy. I mean, dude, he's just a straight power runner.
Ty Chandler, too.
Yeah.
More of a scat back.
Yep. But yeah, he's more of a Kenny won't be playing much running back at all because he's
I honestly could
designated return guy.
I could see us maybe with the new rules that they're implementing into the game.
We'll have McBride will be our power back, and then I noticed he's a real hard runner. His cuts are a little slow.
Yep.
But I mean he is pretty solid. So we'll see. Hopefully they win some solid games this year. I don't think they'll be better than last year. I think last year a lot was luck.
Yeah,
and we did see they did sign. There may be some competition for the second or third spot. I don't know you got. Nick Mullins, you got. I don't remember the guy from BYU,
Jared Hall,
and then that Tafamu guy who was XFL Player of the Year.
And see, I'm kind of intrigued to see how he does if he maybe beats out Hall.
I just seems like a lot of. I mean, XFL hasn't been around that long, but you'll get PJ Walker and players like that. We'll see. And then Then we got UFC 289 coming up. Some notable matchups I wanted to point out. The GOAT, Amanda Nunes, 22-5, puts her belt on the line against Irene Aldana. She's Irene's a solid boxer, Mexican. I would think it'd be cool if she won. Then you'd have about 4 Mexican champs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, dating back to a couple years ago, there was no Mexican champ. So props to Alex Moreno for changing that dynamic. And then we got Benelli Dariush, 22-4-1, takes on Charles Oliveira. They've been trying to plan this fight for the past couple years. This very well could be a number 1 contender fight. But then we also do have Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje coming up in July. So I could see the winners of those 2 fights fighting each other. And then we got Minnesota native Blake Bilder. He's 2-0 in the octagon so far. He's taking on Kyle Nelson. So it will be interesting. And then we're going to go on to some Muay Thai. We got special guest Ian Ironheart Greer, a.k.a. my brother. He is a 4-time Muay Thai champ, pro record, 7-1, 4 knockouts. He's had over 30 fights, more than half those fights overseas.
He's a former member of the Team USA Muay Thai.
Yep, and has fought at the legendary Lupini Stadium. And here he comes.
Speaking of the devil, here he is.
You can just sit right here.
Oh, I got a corner spot. Nice.
Yeah, saved it just for you.
Kick it back.
All
Yep.
right.
Get comfy here.
All right.
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
So, a few questions for you.
Go ahead. I'll let you
Get you on here. Yeah. So, what got you into fighting and how long you been doing it?
Got me into fighting was I was kind of playing sports in high school and stuff and looking for something to kind of do after high school.
Mm-hmm.
So found a martial arts gym kind of down the road from my house and kind of looked at it and kind of started getting into that. And then I was training, and while I was training, I kind of wanted to see if the techniques I was training would work and stuff against, like a opponent who also trained. So I kind of wanted to challenge myself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of went from there. So
yeah, it's been a long road.
Yeah.
What, you've been doing it for what, like 10 years?
10 years now. Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, just about 10 years.
And you fought locally, obviously.
Yep,
nationally.
Locally, kind of on the national local. I went on the local circuit first, and then national circuit, kind of bigger competition. Then eventually started going over to Thailand, internationally fighting. So.
And what's like the main differences that you've noticed from fighting locally to let's say competition over there?
Fighting locally, I think, is a little bit, for me actually, is a little bit backwards. So for most people, I think like fighting locally is a little bit more comfortable for them, but like for me it was like more pressure because it's like my family's around.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got more friends that are in the crowd, judging and stuff. So But when I fight international, I always felt like, or when I fight international, I always feel like people kind of don't really know you, so you can kind of go out there and most of the time when I was fighting internationally, it was like most people had more experience than me. Most fighters had more experience than me, so I was kind of able to kind of have that feeling of like the underdog, which just kind of suited me better. That's just my path has been more like an underdog. So it's like, it felt more, I felt more at home fighting over there and stuff. Whereas here I felt more pressure.
Yeah.
So that
was and the rule set's kind of different too. It's it's more of the TBA scoring around here, high volume.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, for one, is like an amateur around here, it's 3 2-minute rounds, so it's a 6-minute fight.
Yeah.
So it's more of like a sprint than an actual pace out fight. Whereas me, I like to be more paced and slow and kind of ease my way and draw my way into the fight that way.
Right. Exactly.
So the difference I would say is it's more
fast.
It's more fast paced here, and over there it's a little bit slower. Although now they're starting to get into the more of the fast-paced fights over there now, so things are changing.
Yeah, with the 4-ounce gloves. And everything,
so. The MMA, the ONE FC now and stuff, and the RWS shows and stuff. They're more fast-paced, so eventually, it's definitely a.
Well, it seems like ONE FC's been helping out a lot, getting Muay Thai.
Yeah, getting exposure and stuff. Getting the exposure
because most people around here are like, "What the hell is Muay Thai?" It's like
right.
So for the idiot, you gotta tell them it's kickboxing with knees, elbows, and clinch.
They call it Muay Thai around here.
Yeah, like the drink, exactly. But yeah, so what's your like biggest inspiration when it comes to fighting?
Honestly, that was a really good question I was looking at. And, I mean, I've had fighters I've looked up to and stuff like that, but like I'd say like from my history and like my path, like my biggest inspiration's kind of been myself, honestly, and my experiences, just because I've had a lot of, it's a long story, but I've had a lot of setbacks and a lot of injuries in the past 7-8 years here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to come back after each injury. Some of them have been almost career-ending injuries, and I've been able to come back each time and almost do better than before. So I've been pretty impressed with myself on that. I know it's not an ideal answer to that question, but honestly, yeah, my biggest inspiration is myself and my pursuit to keep going.
Exactly. Well, yeah, when you get into that inspiration and everything, talk about your injuries, like I guess we can ask, where does the nickname come from?
Yeah, Ironheart. Yeah.
Ironheart,
so, you know, that kind of speeding up, fast forwarding, my biggest setback was I had a SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, which is basically, you know, your top two chambers and your bottom two chambers signals aren't communicating with each other. So when I would train, I'd have these bad, fast heart palpitation episodes. And my heart rate would get up to like 230 beats per minute, to the point where I'd have to stop training for the night. I'd be out of breath, you know, dizzy and all that. So that was kind of the nail in the coffin for my fight career. But it turns out they had a fix for it, which was an ablation, which is basically they went in through my femoral artery here, took 2 catheters, went up and basically knocked out the blockage in the pathway, and basically made the path signals to get to each other easier. So that was about 2 years off, just these last couple of years.
And then you came back, won 2 fights, and
yep.
Now you're dealing with a little hiccup, but
yeah, now I have
something you're easily going to overcome.
Yep, I have a meniscus tear right now. I just got surgery last month, so I'm kind of rehabbing that now. And
how's the recovery coming?
Recovery's coming good and stuff. I'm kind of back doing some light focus mitts training in the gym right now. Doing a lot of film studying right now. That's been the biggest thing throughout all of my setbacks and stuff, has been doing the film study and staying sharp mentally, and kind of watching and seeing where people are making their mistakes and reading patterns and seeing where people are open and my opponents can be open and stuff, you know, watching people I might fight down the road. And
it's a lot more than just getting in there and fighting, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a mental aspect, you know, studying. It's no different than, you know, team sports, you know, you always are watching film, try to figure out what you can capitalize on and do better.
Where your mistakes are and where their mistakes are, and where you can get better.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I know you give back to the sport too. You not only are a fighter, you coach people too. You try to help people out.
Yep. I'm doing coaching at my gym, Free Spirit Muay Thai, right now in St. Paul. And then I have a couple other like private clients that come over and work with me from other gyms around the Twin Cities area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know you helped me out in that, my smoker fight with the crazy guy.
Yeah, Alan was my pad holder during the pandemic when I had to come back from Thailand. So
he got me into it.
So what do you think separates you from other fighters?
I think my mind. I think the way I think about fighting, you know, coming back to the film studying aspect of the fighting, I think people study film, but the way I study film is on such a different level than a lot of people, I think. I think I break down fighting. I think I break down fighting really well. I think I break down fighters really well. Not just myself, but other fighters, people that I might fight or people I look up to. I kind of analyze things, the way I see things, the way I'm able to put my mind into when I film study, the way I put my mind into it and think about different things. And I'm able to form that around my training. And that's why after all these injuries, I'm able to come back and be better than before.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure a good majority of the people that went through all the injuries you would not be fighting. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially, I mean, well, it all started with that. Didn't they do a full knee reconstruction?
Yeah, in 2016, I was in a fight and I got caught by a punch and I had a ACL rupture where my ACL was completely detached, along with my PCL, and meniscus was compromised as well, and I had to get ACL reconstructive surgery, and that was a 2-year recovery process.
Pretty sure this exact same happened to Teddy Bridgewater.
It was in the same year too. Yeah, the same year he had his injury as well.
Wow. Yeah. Makes me superstitious. So I know we kind of talked about the different styles from, you know, like fighting on the local scene, going overseas, but like what's like the craziest story? I know you fought in Cambodia and there's been lots of issues. And
fighting in Cambodia has always been a kind of a crazy experience. I've fought over there twice, but my first time I went with a group of Thais. A lot of times the Thais will go over there to kind of make money and stuff.
Exactly.
You know, usually it's the older Thais that are kind of at the end of their career and stuff, and they'll kind of want to fight a little bit to make some money and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually the Thais, their skill level's a little bit higher level, so they can kind of go over there and kind of play around with the Cambodian or Kun Khmer fighters, it's called
Mhm.
over there. That's their martial art. But anyways, I went with a group of Thais, and we crossed the border by land. And for anybody who's listening, like crossing land borders is always kind of sketchy in foreign countries because there's a lot of corruption.
Yep.
So coming back, I had won my fight, and I was coming back to cross the border by land, and I had a multiple entry visa. So it means, I'm good. It's usually good for about 6 months, and I can cross and come back and stuff like that. And every 60 days I have to go and cross the border and come back. And I was within that 60 days, and I came back, and the immigration officers looked at my papers and my passport, and they said, like, no, you have to prove that you have a hotel, a flight back, and all that. But I had the multiple entry visa already that said it's okay for me to kind of cross the border.
It doesn't help you don't know the language either.
Right, yeah. And then, they were speaking a little bit of English, but yeah, there's still that language barrier, of course.
Yeah.
And I had to basically, was turned down at the border, and I had to fly back. But flying back was crazy because I had to take a chauffeur, like a ride. Like this one guy met me at the border and was like, "Oh, I'll give you a ride to the airport. You have to go back." And like they showed me this picture of this nice like Sedan or SUV or something that was really nice. You're gonna ride in this to the airport. This beat up like jalopy pulls up and picks me up and then takes me to the airport. And then the whole way they're like, "You need to give us money because we're taking you all this way." So I lost a lot of the money I won.
Yeah.
Because I was sponsored fighter at the time. So that was the money I was living off of.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting to the airport, and then the flight wasn't until like the next day. So I had to sleep at the airport overnight. And then, I didn't sleep for like 72 hours. I was traveling for about 3 days just to get back to Thailand. It was crazy. So yeah, it was a cool experience, but I'm hoping I don't have to do that.
Well, the
again.
second time didn't seem to be as much of a hassle.
No, that was a little bit more, that was planned out better. The plane ticket was paid for, everything. And we flew over, which is always a safer bet when you're border running international countries and stuff.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's crazy. And then like fighting in Cambodia is that, you've seen other guys like Liam Harrison talk, like, their 8 counts are slower for like, American fighters going over there, foreigners, like they kind of try to give you the disadvantage, it seems like, but like you look at your last fight, you got knocked down by that elbow, and then you came up, returned one of your own, and stopped the fight. So, that was pretty big. And
yeah, I think when you're fighting in international countries, you can't really, and you're fighting in countries where like you're not the favorite to win. I think you have to kind of definitely just put that in your mind right away, in your mindset right away. Know that you're not there to favored to win. So again, coming back to like why I do better when I fight internationally versus locally is I don't have that pressure.
Yeah.
So when I'm going into these these imperfect scenarios, I'm kind of like already preparing for that in my mind. So I don't really worry about any kind of little curveball that's thrown my way, because I know my mind is strong, and my skills are what's going to be in there with me, and my brain and my mind, that's what's going to be in there with me with the fight. It's not all the outside distractions and everything. So I think that's why I do well when I fight over there and stuff. But yeah, they definitely try to favor for their guy and stuff, and it's it, and if you know it, you can kind of make peace with it and just go forward and fight.
Well, you notice here too, kind of more in the Western, fighters and everything, it seems like trying to keep that O is like a big deal. But you're gonna lose your fights, you're gonna win fights. I feel like that Floyd Mayweather kind of mindset's kind of hits a lot of people here, like, oh, I lost, like I'm a piece of shit. Yeah. It's like, no, just keep fighting, and that's how you're gonna build up. And
I think styles make fights. So you eventually you're gonna run into somebody that's got your kryptonite. They've got they've got a good style to beat you, or they have a good coach or a good gym that game plans against you very well, and they scout and everything, and they kind of know. Again, coming back to the film study stuff is very important, and some gyms do that. A lot of people do that now, and I think they're starting to form their styles to beat other styles. And sometimes you go against the style that's meant to beat you that night, or you're off mentally or something, and it happens. So
well, given that you've come back from quite a few injuries now, what advice would you give to other fighters that have to come back from those kind of injuries?
I'd say like kind of always have hope in your mind and your heart. Kind of always know that like there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think, like I said, like training yourself mentally, like maybe meditating, doing film study, try to strengthen your mind while you can't strengthen your body as much. Do every little thing with, what you can, like if you have a certain injury with your arm, maybe it's your knee or your arm or your leg, like, there's always like something you can do. I've always wanted to say, or I've always done, where it's like, okay, my legs work not good. Okay, I can work my upper body, or my arm's not good. I can work my lower body. And yeah, just like I said, just knowing that like you're going to come back and stuff and just, you're going to get better. Yep. You just have to, you can't have that doubt.
Right.
So that's been my biggest.
Well, when do you think we'll see you back in the ring?
So I'm rehabbing my knee right now. I don't have a date specifically, but I'm shooting for like late summer, early fall. I'll be back in Thailand, hopefully back training and fighting. So pending the recovery
and the rehab. Plan on going back to Sitson Penang?
Yeah. I'm training at a gym in Bangkok, Sitson Penang gym right now. It's just nice being in Bangkok because it's close to all the big fights and all the big shows right now, like the RWS shows at Rajat Nern Stadium, and the one Friday night fights at the one Lumpini fights on Friday night at Lumpini Stadium for ONE FC puts on those every Friday night. So
yeah, and then there's a few Sidichai is going to be fighting on that next card.
Yeah,
right?
Sidichai fights June 23rd at ONE Lumpini. That's a big card. So
yeah. Well, the nice thing about Sitson Penang is you got a lot of names there too, and a lot of
big name fighters. Rungrawi, Satanfa, Sidichai, Tananchai, who's fighting on the RWS series right now. Rungrawi, who also just signed to the big one, so he'll be fighting. His fight will be announced soon and stuff. But the big thing is they're all around my size. I fight between 67 kilos, 70 kilos, so 147 to 154.
Right.
And they're all around that size and even a little bit bigger. So that's nice. Yeah. And again, and Bangkok's just close to everything. So.
Right.